Right, welcome everyone. My name is Richard Cook. I'm the business unit manager at Exclusive, which Mimecast sits in. So really looking forward to running through the journey that Mimecast have been on today. I'll also let my esteemed colleague at Mimecast introduce himself as well.
Hi everyone, Ernesto Broersma. I'm a senior sales engineer at Mimecast, channel facing. Many of you on the call may actually know me. I've been working with the channel for a long time. I have a channel background myself as well, so I should be able to see it from your perspective. So hopefully it's going to be an insightful session today, Rich.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what we want to do today, everyone, is make it quite informal, really interactive. So if you do have any questions throughout this presentation, just pop them into the chat box. We can then cover them off as and when needed. But yeah, we're gonna start. So thanks everyone for joining. We're just going to take you on a bit of a journey around Mimecast. From where Mimecast have been around their work protected messaging and into their new cloud integrated messaging and the reasons why we've got this new solution on the market from Mimecast and what it can actually protect, the environments that it really fits perfectly into as well. So snapshot of Mimecast, talking through work protected. We'll run through email security and cloud integrated. Ernesto is going to just run through a really nice overview of how cloud integrated works, and then we can just talk about what's next for you guys and have a nice open forum around questions and answers at the end. So nice snapshot of Mimecast. Ernesto, happy for you to touch on these points as well, but I think the key thing is the amount of customers that Mimecast are currently protecting and the amount of emails that Mimecast inspect every single day. They're quite significant, but and I do know that these numbers are growing on a daily basis as well.
Yeah, and I would say, like, you know, having joined Mimecast myself 5 years ago and having sold Mimecast for about 6 years before that, having seen the Mimecast growth and knowing where the company is going, you know, we keep re-innovating ourselves. So I'm super excited. But 17 million users protected worldwide. We have a lot of threat intelligence. So I hope you'll see later why that's really important.
And I think a key thing from my perspective is this is one of the reasons why, from a partner perspective, that exclusive networks are now involved, because Mimecast need to continue to grow, and they are continuing to grow with the amount of emails that are being protected. And for us, it's a really interesting proposition that we've got over the next 12 to 18 months to really showcase the channel, how both our organizations work in complete harmony about delivering the solutions that Mimecast offer out to the partner channel and to the end user community as well. So again, just to give you a nice position of where Mimecast sits, there are a lot of awards, some great Gartner information around being a leader in the Magic Quadrant. From a overall perspective, from a CRN in the UK perspective, I believe 3 out of the last 4 years, Mimecast won a Security Vendor of the Year. So it's really, really a opportune time to, if you haven't invested in this technology and you haven't explored how Mimecast can help the partner channel alongside exclusive networks, to really reach out to us, and we're really keen to just develop more relationships within the partner community moving forward. And is there anything you want to touch on here at all?
No, it's something that usually kind of it's a differentiator at the end. I think most important is what we do in protecting, you know, companies from bad things from happening to them. This is something that kind of recognizes it at the end. Is important for some of your customers out there. I think for most customers, I think they're going to be excited what we're going to talk about next.
Exactly. So this is what we see in the marketplace at the moment around how most organizations are set up in the workplace. You have your people, you have the ability to communicate, and then you have the data that is created from the communications. And with digital transformation, this is even more greater now because of the journey we've been through, as everyone's experienced over the last 2 to 3 years with COVID coming into the world. So this is accelerated in quite a lot of vertical markets around the early adoption and the huge mass adoption of Microsoft 365. So people are even more connected at a touch of a button, which is creating even more data and needing the ability to continue to have that high level of communications and functionality within their organizations. However, this is linked to something that is pretty sort of pertinent in the moment, is that all of this amazing digital transformation has actually increased the risk surface. And that risk comes predominantly from the first point of call, which is email. And that can mean we're having malicious organizations out there. We can see that there's so many cyber attacks in the marketplace at the moment, but the malicious attacks, the malicious actors that are hiding behind these spear phishing attacks and are pretty much focusing on email as that key driver to get into an environment. And on top of that, unfortunately, I think we're all part of this as being individuals where sometimes we do make errors. So those risks are always there from being attacked, from what happens internally within our organizations, and then actually for the technology. Does the technology stand up, and can the technology protect? And it's just to make sure people are fully aware that because we are evolving constantly in the IT industry as both partners, vendors, distributors, and end users, it actually means it gives people a greater attack surface. Ernesto, I don't know if you want to cover off your view from a technical perspective. I know I've done quite a high level overview there, but I'm sure you can go through some granularities there.
If you look at those three risk factors, kind of going from malicious attacks all the way down to technology fallibility, like the technology can fail, but it can also mean that if an attacker attacks you and you realize that they're inside your systems, that you decide to turn off, say, access to Microsoft 365 to your users until you've cleaned it up, until you've found out what it is. But because we rely so much on that work surface and those collaboration tools, it is devastating for an organization. I mean, I'm in the office today, yet I'm still using a collaboration tool to communicate with everyone. If the walls of the office didn't exist, I could go home and still work. But if my communication platform doesn't exist, it doesn't matter that we have an office, I still can't work. So we rely more on IT than on our office these days, and I think that's crucial. So you need to make sure that it stays up.
Most definitely, and everyone can, and I think have had that example of where your organization email or Outlook or which other email vendor that you're utilizing actually falls down. You're spot on. Everything sort of ceases because we're so dependent on it now, and that's how businesses need to look at how they do protect, how they make sure that the lights stay on, and this is a key thing from a Mimecast perspective, the ability to work protected and allow organizations to make sure that not only do they stop risks coming in, but when the risks do get in, how you quarantine them and you actually allow yourselves to continue to operate as an organization, because data is the lifeblood of any organization, and that's the key point here. If you do get attacked and the data are lost, not only do you have to recover from that, but also that's where the fines then come in, because you've had a sensitive data breach. And we've got so many examples of that in the UK market over the last 2 to 3 years as well. But it's continuing because the amount of emails that are being sent is increasing. So that allows this whole risk surface to increase, I think. Again,
to the point, Rich, I sometimes go to the Information Commissioner's Office website and download the reports that they have, what breaches have been reported to them. So these are significant breaches in the UK that have to be reported to the ICO. And usually on a quarterly basis, somewhere between 60 and 80%, so it varies a bit quarter over quarter, are non-IT related. So that employee error point is causing 60 to 80% of the actual breaches. So it's an incredibly important area to tackle. Yeah, let's move on.
Most definitely. I think we've touched on quite a bit of this already, but I think the key parts, that the first most important bit is on the left-hand side, that disruption of business if you do get attacked, and that attack is successful. You obviously do have that monetary loss in almost in a dual approach, because you have that monetary loss as an organization because you might not be able to get your business back and you're not able to work. And then also on top of that, you then have that reputational damage because people then find out that you've been breached and attacked. And then you have that sort of embarrassment of the fact that you're going to be fined around that. And yeah, I just think it's a really interesting position to look at, because there are a lot of organizations at the moment that sort of think, is email security still like at the forefront of most CISOs' mindsets?
Yeah, and we do annual research with about 1,400 IT decision makers globally, and if you look at that monetary loss and disruption and reputational damage and all the other things that pile on top, sometimes you read about a ransomware and you kind of think, "Whew, that's a hefty ransom," but the cost to the organization is usually on average 7 times higher than the ransom itself. So the fallout is much more impactful to an organization and detrimental in many small businesses especially.
So we're just going to run through sort of some of the challenges that are created from attacks. So I think a lot of people will be aware of some of this, but these type of attacks are continuing to evolve. And I think that's probably the most pertinent point in all of this, is the IT industry continually evolves. And we look at what's happened over the last 2 to 3 years with that speed up due to COVID of digital transformation and that really sort of strong adoption of Microsoft 365. We're seeing more of what we've got here, and spear phishing, credential harvesting, I know is something that a lot of people understand, but it doesn't just stop there, does it, Ernesto?
No, if you kind of follow that all the way around, I mean, it quite often starts with kind of spray and pray approach, or kind of attack everyone with the same attack. Then the spear phishing is targeted at specific people. Then you go into the whaling, where you look at the high rollers in an organization, the CEOs or the CFOs. That's all attacking one organization. The supply chain impersonation is kind of like, okay, that organization just tweeted about that organization that they work together. So if I impersonate them, then I can get into that organization. So it evolves. Then once you get into an organization through one step, you want to land your malware in afterwards and hit that ransomware attack. Inside a threat, we spoke about human error before, but in light of malicious actors, sometimes someone just does something stupid. Sometimes you're just blackmailed into doing something that they're not supposed to be doing. Cost of living crisis, everyone's struggling to meet payments. A criminal will abuse that and get someone to do something that they shouldn't be doing and paying them for it, or blackmailing them. And that leads to data loss, and then finally the security tool integration, consolidation of tools. Like as your customers are running their IT infrastructure, they've got all these point solutions to fix one of these items around the circle, and they've got suddenly 5 different tools doing what one tool can do. So consolidating and then making it easier to manage is high on the agenda as well.
I'll also add that from an M365 perspective as well, you should always look at a dual layered security approach, because sometimes it doesn't catch everything.
Well, so I talk about consolidation, and you can get many tools in and then kind of think, okay, well, I've got all these tools, so I should have a really high security posture, but because it's so difficult to manage, your security goes down again because you've got all these different tools that you need to manage, and IT is struggling. So you kind of start consolidating. But if you consolidate too much, then security goes back up, risk goes up because you don't have enough security tools. So it's finding that right balance between consolidation and risk and cost that works for your organization.
Most definitely. I think it's quite a powerful statement that we see in the marketplace at the moment. So for every million emails that Microsoft Defender delivers, there's over nearly 120,000 of them are potentially malicious or unwanted. And I think that's quite a powerful statement to highlight, is that people believe they are safe, people believe they are protected, and it goes back to that point we've just talked about, consolidating of risk and also having a dual layered security approach. But yeah, you can see that within an environment that is protected by Microsoft, you've got 115,000 emails that you would probably class as spam or untrustworthy, and outside of that, you've then got over 1,300 that are probably extremely dangerous.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that Microsoft introduced Defender, because Exchange Online protection was not up to the task at all. So it's a lot better than it used to be. But as we see, when customers come to us and say they have a problem, they do a proof of concept. And during a month, what we'll ask them to do is to send us a feed of all the emails that Microsoft deemed safe, so scanned and delivered to an inbox, and then we scan it afterwards, and we show them a report of what we would have done. And 150 out of 1 million emails. So just keep in mind that a small business probably sends around 5 million emails a year. A large organization can do this in a week or a couple of days, right? Out of every 1 million emails, 115,000, 116,000 are spam. We would have classed it as spam and either kind of blocked it or held it in a hold queue. But the 1,300 emails in there were dangerous. So we find a lot of malicious files that shouldn't have made their way through, and malicious URLs that the trick that criminals use is they create an attack. They don't upload the malware at the time of sending, and then they because they know it's going to be scanned at point of delivery, so it's deemed safe. Then it's delivered to the end user, and then they upload the malware later. So Microsoft kind of tries to do what we do, but they don't do the deep surface scans afterwards. And we'll go into a little bit more detail about the solution later of what we do. But this is why it's a cat and mouse game. Microsoft has hundreds of millions of users. If I can, as a criminal, just register my own Office 365 account and test out the text against myself, and hey, that works, I can now take a few 100 million users, right? So it's a great lock, but it's a transparent lock. So it's the first one that's being broken all the time. So as you said, that dual lock is an important thing to do.
So I think the key thing for what we've just done is a bit of scaremongering there, deliberately, just to showcase the risk. But obviously, we have the ability to help protect what organisations need, and that is protection of data and the ability to recover and to quarantine attacks. So just going to run through how this actually flows for you guys to get you more familiar with the journey that Mimecast have been on around Work Protected.
Yeah, so do you want me to take it from here, Rich?
Yeah, if you could, yeah, I'll point in on bits and pieces, but yeah, if you could run through the journey, I'll be really grateful.
Yeah, so what you're going to see here in the next few slides is our new product, Cloud Integrated. So traditionally, you would have known Mimecast as a cloud gateway, where emails come into Mimecast first, we scan it, and then we deliver it. We've seen this evolution of email where Microsoft have Defender. They can do a lot quite well. So let Microsoft take care of that. So emails come into Microsoft, they're scanned by Microsoft, and then they're delivered. What we do is an inline protection where we say, before you deliver it to the end user, just send it to us and we'll scan it and put an extra layer of security on top. Find what Microsoft didn't find. Well, multiple feeds go into that detection engines. I have 17 million users worldwide. We've got all the threat intelligence. We do dynamic content analysis, AI-based social graphing. I'll go into a lot more detail about that. That's all about finding business email compromise attacks, where maybe there's not malicious content in the email, but it's instructing someone to pay a fake invoice or something like that. Point-in-time URL analysis, I'll go into that in more detail as well. But then the last 2 points, AI-driven, AI-driven, no, just one back, please. AI-driven file analysis. I'll just talk through it whilst you're getting the slides back. So there are 2 points of file scanning that happen. One is a sandbox, which is a more traditional way of scanning files. What we observe is that 80% of weaponized attachments are actually sandbox aware. This is still not the two slides back, please, Richard.
Oh, sorry.
So most malicious files are actually sandbox aware. So get through that sandbox, and that's how they get through Microsoft. So the AI-driven, no, one more back, please. The static file analysis is an AI engine that opens up that file. Yes, thank you. Opens up that file and kind of looks at it like an analyst, really, like, hey, why is there sandbox evasion technique in this file, or why is there hidden machine code, or and it's really a technique that in seconds, much faster than sandbox, finds much more malicious files. So this is part of those 1,300 files that we can find. So yeah, next slide then, please, where we're going to talk a little bit more about the URL analysis. So URLs, traditionally, what we've done is rewrite the URL. So every time when you click on that URL, even if the criminal uploads the malware afterwards, we scan it again, because you come to Mimecast first before we rewrite it back to the original URL. We look at signatures and reputational reputation of the URL. Not that effective. The more effective ones are the deep web page scanning of that website to look at, is there malware on this? Are there phish kits on this website? Are there links to fileless attacks, where there's a link to maybe a OneDrive file or another remote file that executes on the desktop? And then a few things that we've added over the last few years. Criminals try to obfuscate their attack in those websites, so they hide the login script. So we now use AI computer vision to render the file and kind of go, okay, well, there is a hidden login form. The website looks like a Facebook or an Office 365 login page. The SSL certificate is not owned by Microsoft. Stop that. Integrated browser isolation. If a URL is newly registered, if it's uncategorized, if we deem it not suitable for work, 70% chance that it's malicious. We can go into a browser isolation session where the browser runs at Mimecast, streams it through like a video to the end user. So if there's any malware or phish kit on that website, it will never actually reach the end user. So that's to provide a layer of separation in the most risky circumstances. So if you go one further, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that business email compromise. Richard, before I go on, I've spoken about malicious files and URLs. What are your thoughts there of kind of hearing this from a techie?
I think that the big point that we always have to focus on is sometimes we're a bit naive to what we receive, and a lot of attackers prey on that, because they make these attacks so sophisticated now, and my organization do sort of create these types of awareness situations within our organization, and they prey on that human mindset around, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine, that's come from CEO, for example, within the business. But you know that actually once you've clicked on it, you think, and then you start doubting yourself, but you've clicked on it,
Yeah.
And that's the bit that I think is so strong here, is giving organizations that ability to, if someone does make a mistake, you can rectify that mistake quite quickly.
Well, our marketing teams and for people on the phone, your marketing teams are working hard to make sure that people click on the links in your marketing emails. The criminals use exactly the same things like authority, time pressure, scarcity, all the tricks in the trade to get people to click on it, to pressure you into clicking on links or opening attachments or things like that. And then we get to this area where a criminal may find on Twitter that a company has boasted about completing a project with another esteemed company, and you go, well, okay, well, I'll just impersonate that esteemed company and send you an invoice for that work. And I can see on LinkedIn who the finance controllers are, so I know exactly who to impersonate. All that open source intelligence is out there for criminals to abuse. Traditionally, we've had impersonation protect, which looks at the indicators of compromise in email. We now start using AI, machine learning, that looks at, which is we found a lot more effective. What is normal behavior, right? Who does Richard normally email with? Well, Ernesto and all these other people. Okay, that's normal behavior. Now, on a call later today, I'm going to introduce you to one of my colleagues. That's new behavior that can be flagged up, and you can then say, and that there's dynamic banners, dynamic warnings that says, "Hey, Richard, you've never received an email from this person." No, but you can say, "I've just been introduced to that person, so I trust this," and that banner then goes away. But if you, Richard, receive an email from Ernesto, and it says no one in your organization has ever received an email from this person, that looks like someone you email with on a regular basis, you can think twice. You can kind of go, oh, I see what they've done there. Ernesto at somethingelsecast.com, right? So it's about making the user part of that solution, because some stuff could look suspicious, but in reality is real, and vice versa. So it's about empowering the user really with that machine learning and useful information to make those decisions on. We've introduced this technology into both our gateway and our new cloud integrated product. So this technology, as well as browser isolation, are really the two technologies that help protect against probably the most sophisticated attacks out there. A very interesting feature that's going to be coming out in here is natural language processing of the email. At the moment, we look at what's normal behavior, but then we're going to go deeper into kind of like the analysis of that email, what they're specifically asking at what time of day, and those kind of things as well. On the outbound, we obviously also scan. I mean, someone's mailbox can get compromised. You can click on a link in your personal email, or maybe something comes in via LinkedIn, or whatever way your mailbox gets compromised. You have to apply a level of zero trust and assume that those people are inside your organization and are using your users' mailboxes to send out threats. So we apply similar levels of inspection on the outbound. That's a whirlwind overview of the features in our cloud integrated product.
So I think that the key part is just to really go back over what we've showcased here, is that we have really deep levels of security that's available, and also the fact that we give people that ability to have flexibility to deploy what they want to be able to do. And I think the next part is to really showcase how this actually works, how you can actually really easily set up cloud integrated. Ernesto, like from your perspective, do you feel that it's an ongoing sort of journey with regards to from the gateway into cloud integrated, or would you say actually you have to have specific use cases for both types of solutions?
So traditionally, it's always been a gateway, right? We've seen this evolution of new technologies emerge. There were markets where Mimecast will probably struggled to get in just because it was a smaller organization without too many IT resources internally, and they would have thought, I would love to have Mimecast, but I just don't have the resources to implement and support such a system. I'll deal with the higher risk and go for a simpler solution. And that is really an opportunity for the partners on the line to kind of relook at their customer base and kind of go, okay, who haven't I sold Mimecast to yet? Because I'll show you in a couple of minutes how easy it is to implement and support this system compared to the beast that is Mimecast email security, the gateway. So it's the same level of email security applied in a much simpler way. Now, is there still a market for cloud gateway? A very big one and a growing one, and it'll be specifically for those organizations that maybe have hybrid systems, maybe they're acquisition heavy, maybe they need to do a lot of address rewriting, like we acquire that company, we want to integrate their system into our system, we want to make sure that all their emails go out via our domain. You know, we've got G Suite and M365, and maybe on the other side of the planet still three local servers doing some work. So there is definitely an opportunity for both, but this cloud integrated opens up Mimecast for a whole new market, really.
And I think the key part also is cloud integrated is born out of this huge adoption of M365. And I think everyone's heard that delightful term. I've mentioned it about 4 times, digital transformation. It means so many different things to so many different technology companies. But really here, it's this acceleration of users that have, over the last 3 years, been able to work extensively at home and not in the office. So that actually stretches out the attack surface and opens up organizations to being, well, more at risk in all honesty. But at the same time, we do have pure cloud organizations now that are going, do you know what? No, we're not going to have our own infrastructure. They are working with a lot of services organizations, and I think that's the key point to add to what you highlighted when talking through this journey, is that the cloud gateway and the gateway environment is still very much part of what we need to have in front of customers. But we do know that a lot of end users have evolved and are now really just looking at that cloud way of doing business. So we have to evolve with them to be able to make sure that our partners can continue being relevant when it comes to an email security conversation.
Yeah, look, having a gateway just gives a lot more flexibility because we own the root. We can provide things like email continuity. We don't really rely on Microsoft to do the easy stuff. Like we do everything, right? And we've built that platform over that, as you could see from the first slide. We've been going for 2 decades. It's a very sophisticated email security product that can really help an organization kind of fight all the threats. The cloud integrated product is a reinvention of ourselves, but aimed at probably a different type of user of email security. By virtue of not having the email flow initially, we can't offer email continuity in that product. At the heart of it, though, all those organizations have the same problem. They're starting an organization. No one starts a business thinking, I want to get email security, right? They start a business to do some business. Then they kind of go, how do we communicate with our customers? Well, we need email. Okay, we've got email. Now we're being attacked and we've got risk. So it all comes from company risk and managing company risk. So it's the same conversation that you have with your customers. How do you manage risk? Then you find out kind of what your infrastructure is like. Oh, we're just a light IT team with when we're just on Microsoft 365. Great. Have you heard about this great tool called Cloud Integrated? Or we're this massive enterprise and we've got all these different teams and security teams and integrations with other tools, and we need different policies for all our different companies. Well, have you heard about Mimecast Cloud Gateway? So but it stems from the same problem, managing risk.
Completely agree. So we're just going to walk through how sort of easy it is to deploy and utilize Cloud Integrated from Mimecast. I'm going to drive, Ernesto. You're going to sell the dream. So
Yeah.
I'll start first, and then we can make sure at the end that we cover off any questions that anyone might have.
Yeah. So what you've seen here is, and it, it just went a little bit quick, but I'll just explain what happened. You can register a deal for a customer, and that initiates an email to the customer saying you're invited to run a trial for Cloud Integrated. They click on that link and they go to a Mimecast website where they that email address that it was sent to will be the administrator. They type in a password that they want for that account, and then they decide afterwards. They accept the terms and conditions, and they kind of go, okay, in your trial, do you want Mimecast to already find and protect the threats, or do you just want it to find and report the attack? So this is protect mode. If you click once, the other thing should show up, and there's a slight delay between Richard clicking and me seeing it. The monitor mode. So that's the first decision that you make. After this, if you click again, you'll see what the next step is in that process. It asks you to pick a Microsoft 365 administrator account, enter the password, accept the permissions that Mimecast needs, and then Mimecast starts configuring the account in the background. So there's no more implementation time and all that kind of stuff. Within, as you can see, less than 4 minutes is set up. And I can't stress this enough. We've launched this product in November, and all the feedback that we get from customers is like, oh, is that it? It's that quick? And it really is amazingly quick. Mimecast just does all the configuration in the background for you. So click next. You then start seeing immediately what, like, any new emails will be scanned on the way in and will showcase whether that email contained spam, whether it was untrustworthy, whether there was phishing content in that email, or malware. And some emails contain maybe both, and it will always be the heaviest weighted version that it will be highlighted in. But as you can see, it says configuring email flow, scanning historical email. Once it's implemented, we start scanning 2 weeks of historical emails, which is great because that is going to show within probably about 2-3 hours. It sucks up all the emails. It's going to retrospectively scan what over the last 2 weeks has been delivered and where there is actually malware or phishing or untrustworthy email in your system. So if you click on the next slide. Once you then see, okay, we've got 6 detections. It depends on whether you were in protect mode or in monitor mode. If you're in monitor mode, we deliver everything, and so you see 6 detections and 6 delivered. If you've got different policies, some may be blocked, some may be already remediated, some may still be delivered, but you can see what exists already and what has already been remediated. If we dive deeper into one of those emails, if you click next and you go into the list and you click on the email, you can start seeing individually in each email how that email has been scanned. So you can see the policies that were applied. You can see the details of what malware was detected, what spam was detected, how many times a URL has been clicked. Because again, as I mentioned before, a URL may be safe at the time of sending and may be delivered, but then when someone clicks on it and we rescan it, suddenly it's deemed unsafe because the criminal has uploaded it later. And now you can see, okay, this email, maybe it was safe first, it's not safe now, and there is a remove button there. So any threat that exists inside your organization that we know about, you can immediately from this console click remove, and it removes that email from Office 365. Click on the next. This is just highlighting that. So yeah, click next again. Here's one of those examples of those banners that I mentioned. So these are emails that are in itself, they don't contain malware, they don't contain malicious URLs, but an instruction to do something that you're not supposed to be doing. You get these banners at the top saying, a similar name as someone inside your organization, the sender's email address couldn't be verified. It's that contextual information. There are about 21 different types of information that can feed into that banner. And if I now click on that banner, if you click next, and I deem this not safe, it then becomes red, and it becomes red for the entire organization. So it learns from its users as well. So click next. And then finally, once those 2 weeks of historic emails have been scanned, it gives you an overview. Okay, we found 246 threats in your users' mailboxes. You can either view those threats and go into detail of each one, or just say remove these threats now, and it clears up those mailboxes. And I have to say, once you run trials with your customers, you'll see how much we actually catch over and above Microsoft 365. It's unfortunate that we're in that situation. Well, fortunate for us, but unfortunate in the world where we'd hope to rely on our email security. But yeah, you can see very quickly show value to your customers of their engagement. And I mean, I know that this is a presentation with some videos, but what you've seen is literally the experience. And so as a partner, if you have technical capabilities within your organization, you can take customers through that proof of value without Mimecast's input. It's really super easy. Richard.
Yeah, so like Ernesto highlighted, you can go to Mimecast website. You can also go onto the partner portal. There is the ability to download a trial to send on to your customer if there is a conversation that has started around cloud integrated. And I think the key part here is just also understanding what that customer is looking to do. To the point that Ernesto highlighted here is that the gateway is still very prominent, but that is for large scale, lots of layers within the organization. They want not just dual layer security, but they want to protect multiple hybrid environments. So cloud integrated is very much around what it highlights. It's about making sure it integrates into the cloud that the customer is currently utilizing, predominantly Microsoft 365 and Azure, and just making sure that you understand that basically looking at what the customer is actually looking to achieve. And that's the key thing here, is that protection is key, but how do they want to protect? That's what we want to make sure that this trial is utilized for, and just to see things that are evolving within the Mimecast organization around the solutions that are available to protect customers. And I think we've touched on a lot of this, but I'll leave people to read this themselves. But I think the key piece is just obviously making sure that people understand that everything is evolving, not just from a solution-orientated approach from Mimecast, but also how the attackers are attacking organizations. And just allowing people to understand that email security is still very, very high up the priority list within the CISO world. Some might say some people have sort of thought, oh, is that still an issue? But it very much is, because you can see the amount of emails that are being delivered on a daily basis across the UK. I don't have the figures, but I think it will be quite significant if you think one organisation can do over 1 million in a day. You need to make sure that you're protecting what you're actually working on, because data, like I said at the start, is the lifeblood of any organization. And we see it ourselves. If we get data loss from what we do individually with how we work as just consumers of technology ourselves, think about how that affects a large scale organization within the UK market.
Yeah, and I think to some of the figures that we've seen, Richard, a lot of companies have come maybe a bit complacent, have kind of just accepted a level of risk that they may not have to accept. I mean, we can't stop everything. Mimecast can't stop everything. Your other tools, you can't stop everything. But out of every 1 million emails, 1,300 malicious emails delivered, there's definitely something that you could do about that, right? Reducing that to a large effect. Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining today, and open up stuff for questions.
Yeah, Rich, were there any questions posted in the Q&A?
Just gonna check. You've got one here. So are you saying that the gateway is dead?
Well, I think we touched on that question. Probably came just before we were talking about it, because definitely not. No, as I mentioned before, it really has opened up to a market where previously Mimecast may have been a little bit of overkill for organizations, and I think that market also kind of like you may have had market segments that were sitting here before, and part of that has flowed into another market segment, but there's definitely room for both. And so do speak to organizations about their infrastructure. You know, so if you've identified that they are dealing with threats that make their way through, what is your setup? How strong is your IT team? Who manages it? What is your need for consolidating? What is your need for integration with other tools? What is your need for continuity services on email? How are you affected by downtime? Those kind of questions that will quickly lead into, okay, we do need to go the gateway route, or no, it's fine, we can actually follow this cloud integrated route.
One question I have actually, Ernesto, is we've talked a lot about 365, Microsoft Defender. I'd like to get your view on whether you see Microsoft as competition, or actually whether or not Microsoft is an enabler to have an even deeper conversation about how Microsoft how Mimecast complements Microsoft.
We have 40,000 customers. Most of those are on Microsoft 365. We wouldn't exist if Microsoft didn't exist. I'm glad that as a security professional, right, taking my Mimecast hat off, I'm glad that they've included something like Defender to defend the millions of people from attacks. Now it's for you as an organization, well, for your customers and organization to decide, do I want the one lock that everyone has, or do I want an extra lock so that the attacker, you know, attacks my competitor instead of me, because it's better if they go down than, like, ask any of your customers, do you want to be the victim, or do you want your competitor to be the victim? I'm sure that what they'll answer. So I as you can probably hear, I've got an accent. I grew up in Amsterdam, and as well, everyone knows, Amsterdam is very much known for you know, bicycles. So Amsterdam has more bicycles than people, right? Every year, something like 80,000 bicycles get stolen. My brother used to always say, when you park up your bicycle, just make sure it has more locks than the bike next to it, so go for that one. And so that's the kind of mindset you kind of still need to have in this world.
We've got another question as well. What other Mimecast products can Cloud Integrated integrate with?
Okay, so currently, we launched this product in November, and it was just getting out an email security product. So currently, it's just a standalone email security product, and it doesn't yet integrate with anything else. On the roadmap immediately are additional collaboration tools, so protecting things like SharePoint and things like that. So that's coming. Then existing tools, awareness training and DMARC analyzer are the first ones that are going to be integrated with this tool. And then slowly you'll start seeing things like archiving and those kind of tools coming in. The system was designed with that API layer, or the mesh as we call it today, to be able to integrate both with your collaboration tools, Microsoft 365 in this case, as well as or the Mimecast suite, and then the external vendors. But yeah, initially we delivered the product as is, and we're now quickly developing all the integrations.
And also, question around how does the pricing work with Cloud Integrated when compared to traditional Mimecast? Because I know that Mimecast is always priced on amount of users that are being utilized. So is it the same for Cloud Integrated?
Yeah, so I'll kind of quickly go through. I'm not going to name the exact prices, but if you look at traditional gateway, without CyberGraph and without browser isolation, as many of your customers will be on, Cloud Integrated is similarly priced, but it includes CyberGraph and browser isolation. There is now a gateway bundle that includes CyberGraph and browser isolation. That's a little bit more expensive because with the gateway you do get more functionality, but it's in that price range. It's also in the same price range as many of our competitors, and £1 cheaper than the main competitor that we want to defeat. But it's in the normal price range where you would expect it to be.
And is it still done on user count?
Users per annum. Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Thought as much. Yeah. Didn't want to make an assumption though, Ernesto.
Yeah.
Well, that seems to be all the questions answered. I just want to say thanks everyone for attending today. Ernesto, it's always a pleasure working alongside you. I think there's a huge market opportunity here around Cloud Integrated due to the adoption of 365. So just want to say thank you very much, and thank you as well, Ernesto, for the support today.
Thanks for having me. It was nice to be on the Richard Ernesto podcast. It felt more like a podcast than a webinar.
Coming to a podcast provider soon.
Yeah. No, it's been a pleasure being with everyone today.
Thanks everyone, and enjoy the rest of the day. Take care.